Good morning. My name is Nick Janakas. As you see, I love tropicals. My specialty is what people think won't grow in Chicago, I grow in Chicago because tropicals are annuals. With tropicals, you start the first week of June, you can plant them, and they'll last till the second week of September. The peak of tropicals are like the third or fourth week of August. That's when their peak height in the gardens are. What I'm going to show today is first how you start plumerias. Plumerias is my specialty. I have 75 varieties of plumerias. I'm a member of the Plumeria Society of America, but that is my heart and specialty because I love the flowers, I love the fragrance of plumerias. As you see right there, I have them in total bloom. I have 3 different colors blooming at home right now, in reds, in yellows, and the white with the yellows, and the fragrance is beyond stunning. Currently right now, I grow them from seed. These are the plumeria seeds. I get them like this. I planted 72 seeds here. I've got them blooming I got them sprouting right now. This is a 1-year-old plant from seed. This is about 2 years old, if I'm not mistaken. They just take shape. They'll grow with different stalks depending on the sun and the fertilization. Main thing with tropicals is you need to fertilize. Well, all my plants at home that I grow, every time I water, I fertilize. I buy Miracle Grow in tubes in 12.5 pound boxes, and I've got 3 rain barrels at home. And with the rain barrels, most people say, okay, the instructions show that you got to cut a spout on the bottom and pour it in. I've got the 3 rain barrels. I pour a tube in the rain barrel, one of these, I stir it up. I have a submersible pump. I attach a hose to it, and then I water everything. If we don't have enough rain, I have the container, the Miracle Grow container, where you put one of these in there, and it's self-watering, and I water everything. What I'm going to show right now is how you take a cutting. When you have a cutting, if you go somewhere, Florida, or you order them from a catalog, they'll come like this. A cutting like this cutting is a 5-year-old cutting. It snapped off from one of my plants due to the winds, due to the storms. What this is if it's a 5-year-old cutting, you don't have to wait 5 years like you would have to wait for one of these to get flowers. 4 to 5 years is average before they will bud. So when you get a cutting, it would actually bud this year or next year because the cutting is 5 years old. So at this point, I will show how to cut it. Now, what you need is a root hormone. This is the primary root hormone that I will get. There's multiple of them, but they do not have a fungicide on it with it. This brand is the only brand that has a fungicide with the root hormone. It's a powder. And the other thing I use, and this is the Miracle Liquid, Super Thrive. Super Thrive is a hormone liquid. I buy it in quarts and in half gallons. One of these bottles is about $11. But when you want to water and when you want to get spectacular plants, they say a drop, I put a cap in a gallon or get cap in 2 gallons. But when you're doing cuttings or when you're doing transplants and you dip the transplant, you dip the cutting in the Super Thrive, you are guaranteed 100% success. I actually brought the instructions on there, the description of what is Super Thrive. Major growers, major farmers use Super Thrive and they buy it in drums because this is a spectacular product. The other thing is with plumerias, especially up here in the cold countries, depending on when you're in the wintertime, depending on where you put them, there's a disease called black spot. I'm sorry, not black spot, tip rot. Tip rot will take the tips because it's chillier in the winter. If you overwater them, the tips will start rotting. This fungicide will take it's a systemic that goes through the stalk to the tips, and it will eliminate the tip rot. If you go on any of the plumeria websites, it will actually show you the tip rot. This is what they use for tip rot, and they actually will explain what tip rot is. I've been doing this for a long time, and have this. Last year when I rented a heated greenhouse, instead of having them at home because of the large variety that I have, none of my plumerias got tip rot because it was warm. I kept it humid. I kept the greenhouse that I rented between 58 and 60 degrees, which with the sun and the humidity, I did not get I didn't lose any plumeria stalks. So now what I'm going to show is how you take one of these that is damaged, it's soft on the bottom, and you want to take it and propagate it. First you take your cutters, you go up to a soft, this is hard right now from this soft. You take it and you get a clean cut. At this point it will ooze because this is the milk that it's like a milky substance. I will dip it in. I've poured some Miracle Super Thrive in the cup. I'm dipping and soaking it in Super Thrive. And at this point, the stalk is pretty much wet with Super Thrive. I will take the root hormone powder, and I just go in and dip it right in here. Tap off any excess. At this point, I just bury it. This will start rooting. It wants heat and it wants sun. I normally don't put it directly into sun. I just leave it out in the heat underneath a protective, underneath a canopy or wherever I can. But that's all it needs right now. As you see here, it's been wanting to bloom. It's been wanting to grow. It's using the bottom feeders, that milk substance that it wants to feed. So at this point, it's ready. Now, this is one that I did a few months ago. It's been starting to sprout. This is about a 2-year-old, as one 2-year-old as I was showing. That is an 8-year-old plumeria with the flowers. And this one is going to be blooming now for well over 2 months. It's been blooming for a month. As you see, the buds are still coming out. There's a new stalk coming out right here that's going to have more flowers coming out. So they want the sun, they want the heat.